Hey there, I am David Greene, host of the Bigger Pockets Real Estate Podcast. Mortgage loan officer. I own a mortgage company. I have a real estate sales team. I own a bunch of property. I love real estate. And I am here today to decipher the secret real estate code that you never understood before. All right, so let's talk about MLS description. Stands for multiple listing service. And more specifically, how to interpret the speak that realtors will use when describing a house. First up, we have cozy. I'm sure by now many of you understand that cozy actually means very small, and usually much more small than all the other houses around it, and often too small for the price that we are asking for. So it's framed in the term cozy so that you don't think small. Another one, hidden gem. That usually means the ugliest house in a semi-decent neighborhood. Often the inside will be trashed. Gems should not be hidden. If you've got a gem of a house that you're selling, it needs to be exposed for everyone to see. So every time you see the word hidden gem, that usually means I'm trying to show value that this house doesn't actually have. Next up, won't last. Here's a good caveat. Most of the time, someone doesn't have to tell you if something won't last. And frankly, they don't need to tell you that it won't last because they're just trying to sell it. So when it says won't last, that usually means will last. They are trying to incite a bunch of interest that the property is unable to incite on its own of its own merits. Another common one, motivated seller. Understand that as I, as the listing agent, listed it way too high, and now I need to sell it before my listing agreement expires. You can also understand motivated seller as desperate seller or incredibly difficult to work with, so please bring me an offer before I get fired. Another common phrase, stunning. Most of the time, you can interpret this as completely normal and what you'd expect from every other house that's in this area. Look, if you're in a neighborhood where every single property is stunning, then none of them are stunning. And if it's a neighborhood that's that amazing, the realtor doesn't need to tell you that the house is stunning. You're going to see the pictures and see them for themselves. So don't trust when they tell you it's stunning. Trust what your eyes see. Another one, feels like an enchanted castle on the top of the hill. It doesn't feel like that. There's usually not many amenities associated with this property. And so because they have nothing to list about what the property actually objectively is offering, they will tell you emotionally and subjectively what it feels like to try to create a vision in your head that you will then project on the property when you go see it. And hopefully they can fool you into thinking that this property has more than it really does. Another one, good bones. Interpret that as there's not much appealing about this house other than the parts that you can't see. Look, I don't know what good bones actually means. I mean, does that mean that it has a foundation that isn't crumbling? Does that mean that the framing inside the house was well done? How would the realtor even know how good the framing was? If you get an inspection report that shows a house isn't falling down, does that mean it has good bones? That's most houses. So when I see good bones, what that usually means to me is ugly house, or maybe it's going to collapse. Some more terms to keep an eye out for. Rare opportunity. What that means is has amenities that most people don't value. So I'm trying to tell you why there's an opportunity in this house that you otherwise wouldn't have known. Kind of an insult to your intelligence at times, but again, properties should speak for themselves. So realtors shouldn't have to tell you when it's a rare opportunity. Updated property means not ugly and not super old, but again, the pictures will show you that. So when they're putting updated property, it usually means there's not much else that they can say about it. Gourmet kitchen. Now, I suppose some kitchens might actually be a gourmet kitchen, but very rarely will you ever find a house with an actual gourmet kitchen. So my advice, interpret that as big island bar and maybe a pot filler above the stove. Must see to appreciate. Interpret that as I need to get some showings or I'm going to lose this listing because my seller has had enough. Very rarely do you actually have to see it in person in order to appreciate it. Usually the way that the pictures are taken or the marketing makes you want to go see it, and then you will appreciate it. So unless they're giving you something specific, telling you you must see this specific part, a view that the pictures just aren't capturing, or the lighting in the house is amazing and it's not conveyed in pictures, very rarely do you actually have to go see it. Non-conforming rooms. Read that as we have a space where you could put a bed, but it doesn't count as a bedroom, and I didn't want to put in the MLS that it's 5 bedrooms when the tax code shows 3 bedrooms. Spacious. That usually just means big Or the floor plan is really bad and you're not going to love it. So let's describe all this unusable space as spacious. Charming home. You can understand that one as, I don't know what else to put in the description of this property. Make it your own. Interpret that as, there's really nothing noteworthy or outstanding about this property. So you're going to have the responsibility of making it somewhere that you actually want to live. Look, if you don't want to have to try to figure out how to understand realtor talk, find yourself an agent that already speaks it. Go to biggerpockets.com/agent connect. Look for an agent in your area that speaks this weird language that we all speak and can interpret it for you and can hopefully do a lot more than just that. The right agent can be an incredible asset in getting your first, second, third, or next rental property. And I highly encourage you to go find one. Thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if I missed anything that realtors often say, let me know in the comments what I did miss.